cause of the Milwaukee Riots. Civic literacy August 17, 2016. Sparking fires. The city of Milwaukee burst into chaos this last weekend after police shot Sylville Smith, a 23-year-old African-American male who was armed with a stolen handgun. Riots erupted. Buildings were burned. Check out the video below. Police were attacked, as were journalists. Sylville Smith's police shooting death will be investigated, as it should be. As I previously written, it is morally right for all individuals to enjoy equal liberty in our nation, which is to say, equal rights under the rule of law. But whether or not the police shooting is deemed to be justifiable, Smith's death isn't the cause of the Milwaukee riots. It's only the spark that ignited a century-old powder keg. Making impossible promises. Milwaukee has a rich history in socialism, and for over 100 years, Milwaukee socialist politicians have promised to deliver a mysterious type of liberty to their constituents, the freedom from want. It's the idea that everything you want is provided for you by others through the institution of government. And Milwaukee's politicians have failed miserably to deliver on that promise, particularly for African Americans. Of course, it's not that Milwaukee socialist politicians are bad people. It's not like they haven't tried their best to make good on their promises. It's just that they've made promises impossible to keep. And they're not alone. Socialist politicians across the globe always, yes, always, fail to deliver freedom from want because the liberty they promise does not exist. Because think about it. Freedom from want means that no one has any wants. Yet want is an ever-evolving idea. 100 years ago, nobody wanted a Snickers bar. Nobody wanted a fast internet connection, a computer, or a smartphone. Nobody wanted chemotherapy to fight cancer. Nobody wanted them because they didn't even exist yet. To suggest that freedom from want is achievable through government is to fail to recognize the ever-evolving nature of want. Individuals' wants are simply too complex for government to keep up with them all. After all, sometimes you don't decide what you want until you're actually placing your order at McDonald's, right? Secondly, freedom from want necessarily implies that people reach a collective sense of contentment after getting enough free stuff from government. And while individuals are capable of achieving a sense of contentment in life, socialist populaces always want more. And socialist politicians, ever mindful of their political careers, always promise more. Considering the world as it is. Don't believe me? Consider this. Imagine for a moment that American socialists achieved every single one of their political objectives right now. Free healthcare. Free college. A $15 minimum wage. Expanded social security. Perfectly affordable, quality housing. Corporations that yearn for greater regulation and massive tax hikes. Big tax rate increases on the wealthy. Imagine that it all magically happened this instant. Would socialists and socialist politicians just go home, fully satisfied, and be happy with a job well done? My gut says no. There would always be the next thing. Because again, socialist populaces always want more from government. I'm not casting judgments here. I'm just observing what is. Socialists' insatiable appetite for more inevitably leads to frustration, resentment, and anger among the people. Because when socialist politicians fail to deliver on their impossible promises, they act like any other failing politician. They find someone to blame. Milwaukee riots. The blame game. Blame outsiders. Blame political opponents. Blame capitalists. Blame the wealthy. Surely those people possess the freedom of want you so desire, but they're keeping it from you because they're greedy, evil people. They seem to say, not in so many words, of course. Never mind that the socialist promise itself is mortally flawed. It's easier to play the blame game. And it's an easy way for politicians to extend their careers. With each passing cycle of utopian promises, inevitable failures, and offloading of blame, more powder gets added to socialist powder kegs. And when an inevitable social spark hits the powder, all that frustration, resentment, and anger ignites, sometimes literally, as we saw in Milwaukee this last weekend. It's sad. I suggest it's time to shift direction. And that shift starts with education about fundamental ideas, particularly as related to liberty as a concept. Swapping out kegs. Powder kegs are an inevitable outcome anytime liberty is defined as freedom from want. But they're not inevitable entirely. When we the people understand and embrace the 5 forms of moral liberty in our culture, we'll quit building socialist powder kegs. And Milwaukee, the beer capital of the world, will once again become known for filling kegs with liquid merriment instead of gunpowder. President at LTP. I'm a 2007 Luther College grad trying to make the most out of every day. I enjoy spending time with my family, charcoal grilling, downhill skiing, double IPAs, fine scotch, going to church, jogging, Texas Hold'em, fishing, reading, and watching the Green Bay Packers dominate the NFL. I'm passionate about passion. Whatever you're passionate about, go do it.